This is SSW. Decided to do a little bit of a late night stream. And I wanted to talk about something. I wanted to talk about it. We'll wait till people come in. I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to interact about it. I guess I'll start out since nobody's here. Let's talk about the impact of feminism on the Western world. Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, I think a lot of, let me rephrase that. A lot of people have spoken about this. I'm just going to do some commentary on where we are right now. And I'm going to tell you, feminism was, I'm of the belief that there was no such thing as good feminism. It was always a wicked movement. I've studied the history of it. Its roots are in witchcraft and Satanism. You know, the whole suffragettes, there's nothing, what we're told about history about these people, you know, we're given a glowing review of these people in history, but I studied the real history of these people. They were never good people. They were never good women. So what I'm going to be here doing tonight, what I'm going to be here talking about tonight is feminism, its cultural impact, the damage it did. It drove a wedge between men and women. A very hard wedge. We're seeing this wedge emerge in the present day. You know, it destroyed the nuclear family. I mean, there's no families being formed, barely, in America and the Western world because of this. It basically caused an unfair legal system that destroyed a lot of men in family courts to the point where a lot of men don't want to get married anymore. No one wants to be a victim of family courts anymore. So, and I'm going to make this perfectly clear. Feminism is fading away. Oh, my views went down. Feminism right now, currently, culturally, is fading away. It's fading away as a cultural power. But I'm going to say its impact, the cultural impact of feminism will be felt for years to come. It's kind of like a earthquake that happened. You're still going to feel the aftershocks. You know, you're still going to feel the aftershocks. Now, you can say what you want about me. Oh, call me a misogynist. But the thing is, feminism is no longer a cultural power anymore. And it's okay to criticize this movement. There was a time when it wasn't exactly okay to criticize feminism. But what I'm trying to say is that feminism has really caused a lot of damage to the Western world. Families aren't being formed. We got below replacement birth rates in the West. It's pretty bad. It drove a wedge between men and women pretty bad, you know. And the way I see it, the only way feminism was able, and still is able to a certain extent, to actually stay in power, legally speaking, and in the, was government force. You had to have men with guns to keep this thing going because it's unnatural, it's unsustainable, and we're seeing that it's falling apart slowly but surely. We're in the end phase in a post-feminist era. We are definitely in a post-feminist era. You know, and it's very sad what happened to the West because it could have turned out different. But you know, this is where we are. People are atomized because of this. The family's been broken apart. So I want to hear what people have to say and everything like that. Join the chat. If you agree with me or you disagree with me, I'm willing to listen to you as long as you're civil. As long as you're civil and not acting like a freaking troll. You know what I mean? So let me know, do you think feminism destroyed Western civilization? Because I am of that school of thought that feminism destroyed the family. It's a cancer that's been killing our society. And everywhere it's implemented, it always is cancerous to the host society. It was implemented in India. It's already becoming cancerous, you know? And it seems that it seems to me feminism is a weapon to destroy a functional society. You know, it's always used as a weapon to destroy a functional society. Destroy birth rates. You know, I think a part of it is population control. Feminism is also a tool of population control. It controls the population. If no families are being formed, well, no children are being born. This is why you see a lot of these anti-male stuff on television. You see a lot of the propaganda being pro-feminist. And I'm not getting anyone in the chat willing to talk to me. This chat is cold as an icebox. I tell you what. Like I said, feminism is a destabilizing force, and a culturally destabilizing force. It's bull crap. I mean, it ignores their beliefs are just nonsense. I'm going to tell you. They believe that gender is a social construct. No, it's biological. We're physically and mentally different, give or take. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear from the people out here. I'm here on YouTube. So I have to come back to YouTube to do this one. Don't disappoint me. All right, I can sit here. Only got 3 viewers. Oh, you're laughing. All right, if you're laughing, you must have something to say. So you're just laughing? Oh, you're laughing, huh? I'm talking about a serious topic and you're laughing your ass off. Fine. Well, tell me something. How come you're not talking? How come you're not in the chat? How come you're not chatting? If you got all this laughter, you laugh at somebody. How come you're not chatting? What don't you agree with? And what do you find to be funny about this? We have negative birth rates. We are below replacement level in the West. I mean, the nuclear family, the family that, you know, the family structure that kept people together is gone. We got high divorce rates, high rates of promiscuity in women, high rates of like STDs and diseases. I mean, come on. And you're telling me this is normal? This is good? Nobody's telling me. It's like, we have a lot of problems, and I'm pointing the finger at feminism. Feminism destroyed a lot of power. Feminism destroyed, and they admitted it in their own writings. They said, we want to destroy the man. And how do you destroy the man? You just take his power away by destroying marriage, by destroying the nuclear family. They said this in their own writings. That their goal was to destroy the nuclear family, and they achieved that. Duh. Have you read what they wrote? Still laughing, huh? Oh, that's nice. But no chatting. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's see what we can do. Oh, we got a like. Anyone in the chat? I'm talking about an important topic here. Yeah, it did. Oh, man. No, oh, you're always laughing. Okay, I'm not going to hear this. Oh, keep on yucking it up. All right. Very good, Poon. How you doing? Yes, I'm talking about how feminism destroyed the West. I think we need to talk about it. It's been a terrible thing. I mean, it's like I said, feminism is fading away. It really is. It's lost its cultural power, but its cultural impact will be felt for generations to come. Sadly, it destroyed so many things. I've read their writings. You have a point there. Chaos seems to be the there are a lot of great women out there, don't get me wrong. A lot of them aren't in the West, but some of them are. But the point is that their modus operandi, a lot of women, men love order. Women love chaos. They love chaos. You know? By the way, God bless you. I always say, find your way to God. You'll understand the truth and about what's going on here in the world. The Word of God is enlightening, you know. But yes, feminism destroyed the West. We are not as powerful as we used to be. We used to be basically a stable society, but we're very much destabilized currently. Very true. Very true. Sabrina. Oh! Yes. Well, what we're talking about here tonight, and I decided to do this, and I'm going to do a recap for people who haven't been here, and is that feminism was a culturally destructive force that really destroyed the West. It destroyed the nuclear family. In a lot of ways, and if you read the writings of feminists, you read the writings, this was their goal. This was their goal. They said, in order to destroy the man, you have to take his power away. And his power lies within the nuclear family, within, the structure of the nuclear family. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot. And if you ever read the old writings of the suffragettes, they weren't good people. They bombed churches to get what they want. They're no different from what Antifa is today. I mean, they literally bombed churches, those suffragettes. They were not nice people. Also, they were very much into the occult, into witchcraft. They believe that Satan was their liberator. Well, Satan will give you what you want, but it comes with a price. When you sell your soul to Satan, ladies, there's a price to be paid. And a lot of feminists are paying the price today. Thank you, Sabrina. Give me 1 second here. So, yeah, I'm telling you, and I'm telling you good. Man, feminism has really wrecked our society, and we're seeing the impact of it. It is what it is. And these women were quite evil. The ones who were the original feminists, they were evil. I would say the original feminist was Jezebel. Jezebel, on a smaller scale, did everything the feminist movement did. Thank you, Sabrina. So, like I said, although feminism culturally is fading away from, how can I say, it's fading away from cultural power. It used to have a lot of power in the culture. Feminist words and sayings were like taken as holy gospel. So the feminist culture it's almost gone, but it's still around, and their buzzwords, their lies, their beliefs, they're still around in some of the institutions, but they're slowly fading away. I think the manosphere has really destroyed a lot of the feminist narrative. That's the narrative that they had was how they got into power in the first place. They were able to push a narrative. They had the support of very powerful men to do that. Look up the CIA funded the feminist movement. The CIA funded it. The CIA funded the feminist movement. So this whole movement, from the beginning to the end, because this is the end of feminism, I think it's the end for them. It's becoming I don't think culturally they're going to be able to stay in power. I think as the culture changes, as it is, the laws are going to change with it. We're already starting to see that. We see Kentucky. They got rid of no-fault divorce, and they made paternity fraud a crime. So a lot of states are basically getting rid of feminist laws. They're taking them off the books, you could say, and they're putting new laws that are not feminist inspired. So we're starting to see the laws change in some states. It's a long time before it took a while for the feminists to change the culture like they did. But the manosphere, as it is, you can say what you want about it, good or bad. It has changed the culture. It has changed, it had an impact on the culture, and will have an impact in the future. Manosphere narrative is going to be the one that's going to be projected in the future. Okay. So, yeah, although I will say this, feminism will be seen by future generations as the worst idea that ever happened. Yeah, you got that right, brother. Oh, no, it's working out quite fine. Brain dead. I have a lot of posts on Instagram and Facebook that broke 200, 300, 300 views. So yeah, like 400 views. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's actually I've done well over there. How you doing, Shizzle? I've done well over there. There's a lot less APZ, how you doing? Good evening, APZ. I was just talking about, and how feminism has really wrecked Western society. And the funny thing, everywhere it seems that feminism is also used as a weapon against other stable societies. Okay, for example, feminism is used was implemented by force out of it was implemented by pressure, international pressure, into India. It's still causing damage. I mean, feminism is still causing damage over there. So it doesn't really work. Feminism is it's a tool of cultural destruction, of social cohesion. You get rid of social cohesion when you basically introduce feminism. For example, I'll give you an example. You want to know for history. Here's some history for you. I'm going to give you some history. Thank you, Brain Dead. That's very true, APZ. Things are different now. Unfortunately, feminism wrecked a lot of societies, and you get even a lot of like Republicans saying this. It's just this fourth wave feminism that's the problem. No, I've studied the history. All feminism, the suffragettes, everything was a problem. Everything. It's all destructive. It atomizes people. It destroys the family. The ideas of feminism are terrible. Toxic masculinity. Men are not allowed to be masculine. You want to turn men into feminized pansies? What happens if you have a war? We'll lose. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because they can just bone the winners. Of course, the men that lose die. Exactly, Sabrina. And of course, there's this lovely idea that women love to. Not women. I'm not saying women, but feminists. Okay, feminists love to push forward. Gender is a social construct. Okay, biology. Men and women are different people. We're born different. Different bone structure, different everything, different brain structure. There's been scientific studies to prove this. Men and women think differently. We have different physical traits. So this social construct, this socialist idea, basically a blank slate, simply doesn't work. People are not blank slates. We are given our nature by God. Bottom line. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, they are. But the men are killed first. You realize that, right? The men get deleted first. Whenever there's lose a war, here's the thing: traditional throughout history, when the men of a certain tribe lose a war, guess what happens? They delete all the men and boys of that tribe. Then they take the young, fertile women. Throughout history, that's how things were done. A tribe that had victory over another tribe. That's exactly what they did. Exactly, APZ. I understand. I don't think women should be in the military, Sabrina. I think it's a bad idea, but I think that's a bad idea. So, needless to say, the feminism has destroyed the nuclear family. It has destroyed social cohesion in the West. It destabilized. It was designed, literally, if you read their writings, to destabilize society, to atomize human beings, and it was mission accomplished. Read their writings. Read what the feminists actually wrote, their manifestos, and you'll understand this is what they wanted. But in the long run, they have failed. And they're going to continue to fail. Their narrative has fallen apart. Nobody cares about being called misogynist. Nobody cares about that anymore. Call me what you will. Call me a racist. Call me a misogynist. Call me a homophobe. Don't care. Don't care. I don't care what my enemies think of me. Bottom line, I don't care. I don't care what they think of me. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sabrina. But that's the point. This is where we're at. Well, that's good, Sabrina. At least they're nurses. Anyway, the point is that feminism has proven not to work. As a matter of fact, it's used to destabilize other societies. I mean, anytime the system wants to destabilize a society, they try to basically force that the government of that country to adopt feminism. It happened in India. Look what happened to them. So yeah, it doesn't work. It destroys the balance between men and women. And if there's no balance, well, we die. And we're dying. Ladies, you can laugh it off, but there's not many children being born. We have below replacement birth rates. And maybe a lot of you women don't care about that. Because as long as you have your girl boss fantasy, it's okay. At least until basically you're maybe in your 40s and alone with your cats. And you never had children, and you're crying. You're crying in your wine, in your boxed wine. Following the feminist dream to its inevitable conclusion, which is down the toilet. That's where you're going. You're gonna get flushed. Well, that's a problem, isn't it, Just Bree? You want traditional men, but are you traditional women? I don't think so. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that we should go back because we can't. I'm saying that it's in free fall. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. I guess not. I prefer to watch things on replay, Chris. I don't like to watch a live stream. So that being said, I hope you understand where I'm coming from on this one and what's at stake. Do I think this current society is going to basically last as it is? No, it's unsustainable. Our values have been warped. Yeah, I don't like to watch a live stream of a State of the Union address. I mean, it's not interactive. I don't like it like that, you know? Maybe for you, Chris. Maybe for you. I like to sit down and watch something. Like a video, you know what I mean? I have a different temperament. All right. You know, if I tell you anything, if my voice goes out through the ages, if future generations hear this, if future generations hear what I say tonight, if future generations hear what I say tonight, I will tell you this. This didn't happen overnight. The West didn't fall apart overnight. It was slowly poisoned by poisonous ideas. And to the future generations, I'm sorry we failed you. We failed to stop it. All we can do now is hope it runs its course, you know, and it will. It's running its course. It's falling apart. At this point, it can't be stopped, but it's going to run its course. It's rather sad, but let's be honest here. Yeah. How you doing, Galaxy? Well, let's be honest here, Brain Dead. These women were given power. These feminist women, they weren't they didn't exactly, you know, do this on their own. Now, did they? They had help of some powerful people. Let's never forget that there were people behind the scenes who were supporting this, who wanted this to happen for their own aims. Feminists could never do this on their own. We know that. But their social capital is going down. I mean, their narrative has collapsed, and culturally, they're not as powerful as they used to be. And slowly but surely, the culture is changing, because I would say the manosphere, love it or hate it, has changed the culture. And has changed a lot of laws. Kentucky, for example, ended no-fault divorce and made mandatory DNA and started with mandatory DNA testing at birth to end paternity fraud. And they made paternity fraud a crime, a misdemeanor. They made paternity fraud a misdemeanor crime. So in the state of Kentucky, if you commit paternity fraud, like, you know, saying that he's the daddy and he's not, you can go to jail, or you can spend, if you get enough charges, yeah, you can spend some time in jail. You know, man, you You keep doing it. No, they burn bridges. They don't build anything. But the point is that feminism is fading away culturally. But the impact of feminism is going to be felt for generations to come. But things are changing. The laws are changing. And of course, there's a new bill in Congress to get rid of child support and alimony. So we're seeing some things like that. Okay, Galaxy, let me give you a little reality check. Galaxy. Everything you got right now from the computer or phone that you're watching this stream on has been built and designed by a man. Every road, every house, just about every innovation, a man built it. Hate to break it to you. Men built it all. And what we built, we can destroy. We can let it fall apart. We can let it fall apart. The very men that a lot of you ladies look down upon, the trash men, the plumbers, the guys who basically keep your house warm in the winter and cool in the summer. The guys who keep food on your shelves, they can walk away and they can destroy it all in 1 second. It wouldn't affect them. They could actually just simply by walking away, it all falls apart. Just remember that. The men you need are the very men. Well, hello, Gaming Fairy. Yes, it's a man's world. So just remember that men built the society and we maintain it. And the day we decide to not maintain it, then everything falls apart. Just remember that. Yeah. Yeah, be nothing without a woman, right? Yes, women have their place. They create life, the next generation. They're failing at that, by the way. They're the one thing that they're biologically are programmed to do, they reject. I'm talking about the Western women. They reject, most of them, the one thing they're biologically programmed to, biologically the thing they need to do is basically have children, create life. They trade their youth away for a career instead of starting a family at a young age. It's a bad trade-off. We are, but at the same time, ladies, the one thing that you do and you do well, you're not doing. Because you no longer have a duty. You no longer You no longer have an obligation to this society. Your obligation has been taken away. And you think we should still maintain our obligations when you're not maintaining your obligation of basically starting a family and having kids. And you expect us to basically provide and protect for you, but you're not. But you say you don't want those things. You don't want a family and kids when these are things that you should be obligated to do because we are below replacement birth rate. Thank you, feminism, for that bullshit. I don't know why the chat disconnected, but yeah, we're having below replacement birth rates because of it. And if you ladies can't put two and two together, I don't know what it is. I mean, because a lot of times the difference between men and women is that we think men think rationally. We look for things that make sense, patterns that make sense. You know, we look for things that make sense rationally. Women look for things that feels good. So if it doesn't feel good, even though if it's right, if it's true, they will reject it because it doesn't stroke their ego. Thank you, Valhallis. And it's not a bad thing, but the problem is that a society that's run on emotion instead of rational logic, well, you see what happens. It's chaotic. It doesn't work. Go to any black ghetto and see a society run by emotional feelings. It's chaotic. It's violent. It's destructive to its own ends. Yes, most of them are on Prozac lately. There's been studies showing that women are becoming more mentally ill. Western women have more mental illness, undiagnosed mental illness. Of course, I don't believe in a lot of the mental illness things. Some of the things I don't believe in psychiatry because they deny that there's a spiritual world. So I don't. But yeah, there's a high rate of mental illness in modern women today. I know. Now, a lot of women are going to hate me for this, but they're going to love me for it too. Now, a lot of men in the West have been feeling yes. These women should know how to behave, but they don't. They haven't been trained to be ladies. They're not ladies anymore. And they reject femininity and embrace a kind of pseudo masculinity where they try to imitate men. At least the worst kinds of men. Thank you, Valhalla. Oh, Galaxy, you disagree with me? Go ahead. I'm willing to hear you. Now, this probably will be a rage bait kind of stream. I know. I'll put it this way. Yes, I've been doing a lot of things on Instagram and Facebook lately. I came back to YouTube because I wanted to basically. I'm slowly drifting away from YouTube, but I'm still here to a certain extent. Thank you, Game and Fairy. So, that being said, it turns out I'm reading old comments. Oh, it is, but it's freer. I went to Instagram for a reason. I was being censored here. Now, I have made a lot of great content on Instagram and Facebook. And I am not as censored as, let's say I am on this platform. So that's the reason I've been concentrating on building up. And I have gotten a lot of congratulations. Like, for example, I got a congratulations. My posts are getting a lot of views. I got a congratulations from Meta. So it's like, yeah. So I'm building myself up there, I know, Valhalla, but YouTube seems to be rejecting me. Yeah. Thank you, Valhalla. But I'm glad you're here. I really am glad you're here. I want to talk about the subject. Yeah, it seems that a lot of things, But ladies, I'm going to tell you this. If you believe that you're going to live your best life in your 20s or early on, 18s, 20s, whatever, and you expect there's going to be a man waiting for you to settle down with when you're in your 30s, you are wrong. Those men will move on. You can't just date bad and marry good anymore. That's not going to work. It was not meant to work for. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of you ladies, you choose to live your best life, to basically mess around in your prime fertile years and not start a family, to basically run around with Chad and Tyrone and be a strong, independent woman, and then you're wondering why you're alone in your 40s with cats and dogs and no man, and crying in your wine, crying on TikTok. Yeah. You made a bad decision based on your feelings, not based on what's true, what's real. Thank you. Let's talk about what's coming down the pike. That's I believe we are in a post-feminist era. Feminism is fading from the cultural zeitgeist. Still has some residual power, you could say, residual, but it's fading. Fading slowly, but it's going away. Exactly. Because and a lot of times these women, they want the best men. And a lot of times a lot of these women, they're not the best women. If you're a fat, disgusting woman, maybe you need to be with a fat, disgusting man. Yeah, bottom line. Or, lose weight or. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, they're rebellious to the end, just like Jezebel. She was rebellious to the end until till her own servants threw her out of the balcony. Look up the story of Jezebel. She did a lot of bad things, and her own servants grabbed her up and threw her out off the balcony. Yeah. So yeah, we got we have a problem here. We have a little problem. And of course, let's talk about abortion. I don't know why it's a right to kill your babies, to delete your own babies. You know, it seems like it's like those old, like you read your Bible, what the Canaanites used to do. In the Bible, they used to sacrifice babies to this bull god. You know, I'm not going to say the name of the bull god, but it seems like this is what they're doing every time they go to an abortion clinic. There was a very much a line in the movie. It was a movie about a demonically possessed prison inmate called. Cool, Chris. About a demonically possessed prison inmate, nefarious, and he was talking about how abortion is like modern day child sacrifice, and it is. It is. Abortion is pretty much like that. So true, brain dead. But yeah, we are in a post-feminist era. That's where we are. That's where we find ourselves in. Although the feminist movement is dying, it is. It's on the ropes, and will eventually fall. Eventually, it will eventually die out. It's very similar to how a virus, how an outbreak, like a cancer will eventually run its course. The sad part is cancer is going to destroy the host too. So this cancer that is feminism is about to destroy the West. You know, feminism is cancer, people. Sad, very sad, Galaxy. I love my country. I come from a long line of very good people, a long line of warriors who fought for the Western world, who fought not for the current society, but fought for what the West used to be. My ancestors were border reavers, My ancestors were guys who won the American Revolution, who fought in the Civil War. My ancestors were guys, who did those things. I'm getting a connection warning, people. I don't know nothing about lady. Well, what? Who? What particular lady? Galaxy. I'm getting connection problems. But yeah. I know. Gaming Fairy. So true, so true. But I leave it in God's hands. God could have stopped this, but there has to be a reason why, he's let a lot of these things happen. It's about free will. We choose what we're going to do. We as a people, we make our own decisions. But remember, the decisions we make today have an impact on us in the future and on everybody else. The decisions you make today, the decisions that they make today will have an impact on future generations of your own children. Don't forget that. So at this point, I would say make good decisions, because the bad decisions that have been made have affected generations. So we can set it right. I think we can set it right, and I believe we can, and we are setting it right. Any questions? I have read the writings of the feminists. Their goal was to destroy the nuclear family, by the way. Okay, Brain Dad. They literally said in their own writings that they wanted to destroy the nuclear family. I didn't delete your comment, Galaxy. I did not do that. That was not me. Okay. Well, we are living in a post-feminist era. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the cancer is running its course. It's starting to run its course. And maybe we can come back from this. It will take a long time to come back from the feminist era that we've lived through. So I'm hoping that in the post-feminist era that we're living in, that maybe a lot of us can come back. Maybe we can get something that we lost back. as a society. Amen. And with God's help, in Jesus Christ's name, I pray that we can get our society back, that we can come back to you and expel these negative forces that have corrupted our society. Amen. Remember, feminism was never a good thing. It was always evil. It was always from Satan, and it was always wicked. There was no such thing as a good wave of feminism. Forget what you've been taught in history. Forget about it. Everything that feminism was and is evil. It's destructive. I know we've been taught a lot of lies in history class when we were going through public schools about how good feminism was, how good certain things were in history, that they were a good thing. But a lot of times, they weren't. So true, Brain Dead, so true. If you believe unto him, you're saved, Galaxy. I would say turn away from your feminist ways. Now, let me be honest here. A lot of women who say they're not feminists still subscribe to feminist beliefs. If they still subscribe to feminist beliefs, if they know it or not. A lot of things, and you got to question everything you've been taught. So, ladies, you've been taught a lot of feminist stuff in the school system, a lot of feminist lies on the television, on the shows and the TV shows. So, so a lot of these feminist ideas are in your head. It's a poison that's in your head. So these ideas are still there. You can say you're not a feminist, but do you hold some of these feminist ideas subconsciously? Even a lot of men. It took me a while to unplug from the feminist matrix. I used to believe a lot of this shit that I was told by the television and the public schools. I believed some of these feminist lies until I slowly began to wake up and question it. So a lot of people ask me, well, you're just brain. I had feminists tell me I'm just brainwashed. And I'm like looking at them. We have been told since the time we were going through public school, feminist bullshit. You know what I mean? Feminist nonsense. Only if they give up their wicked ways and accept Jesus Christ as their personal savior. But many feminists will not make it. Feminism is anathema to Christianity. A lot of feminists practice witchcraft. So, no. Yeah. So, ladies, and you could say that you're not for feminism, ladies. Okay? But you have to examine the ideas that you were, in order to, I really did examine a lot of the things I was taught by the schools when I did my own research, when I found the truth, So I used to believe some of these feminist tenets, some of these feminist stuff were still in, these cultural feminist things were still in my head, but I got them out. Number one, it was doing my own research about where this feminist movement comes from. That's funny, Galaxy. So I actually believed some of these feminist lies. But when reality came, when I started to come into reality, when I started to come into the real world, I started to examine these lies, and I started to change my attitude and change my point of view and do some more research. That led me to God, and I realized that 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 basically feminism doesn't work, that equality doesn't work. I came to that conclusion that nature itself is a hierarchy. Even you read the Bible, heaven is a hierarchy. So equality doesn't work, and it's unsustainable. And in the long run, it's going to fall apart because equality requires government force to basically keep it together. Doesn't work. Yes, think about what as a Christian. I think one of the lies I was told in public school, one of the first lies, that people are animals. That's what they tell you in elementary school. As a Christian now, I disagree with that. Human beings are not animals and never were. We are created in the image of God. So a lot of lies you have to unplug from. A lot of lies that you've been conditioned to believe that aren't true. You have to question everything. Amen, brain dead. Amen. So that being said, I never liked Pop-Tarts. Never liked them. Ugh. They're sweet and everything, but they're not that good. It's like a flat donut is filled with fruit. Yeah, it's like nah. A donut's better than a Pop-Tart. Anyway, you do. You have to forget the things you were taught in school. You have to come at it like was I led to believe something that was a lie? And if you were, if the television, the television shows and the sitcoms and the cartoon shows had false ideas, like Captain Planet was the biggest lie of them all. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have a lot of things that we were propagandized to believe that simply weren't true. Through entertainment and through the educational system, we've been led to believe things that weren't true about history, about who we are, about ideas. See ya, brain dead. And for those feminists telling me that I'm brainwashed, your ideas have been pumped through every child's brain, through school, through television, for decades. So who's brainwashed? It took me a while to get those ideas out of my head and learn the truth. See ya. Well, I'll conclude. We are in a post-feminist era, and I'm praying that in a post-feminist era that it ends, that it goes down smoothly instead of going down in flames. But it looks like we're going to go down in flames. Some of us tried to stop this for future generations, but we failed. My greatest hope is that in the next cycle that this will end. And you can return to some kind of normalcy. Because we haven't been in normal mode in a long time. God bless you. All glory goes to God. Have a great night.